Okay, so imagine this scenario. It's 2008, San Francisco. You've got these three friends, Brian Chesky, Joe Gabia, Nathan Blacharczyk, and they're in their apartment, a pretty modest place, and they're really struggling to figure out how to pay the rent.
Right, a classic San Francisco problem, even back then.
Exactly. So what do? Their solution is actually deceptively simple. They decide, hey, let's rent out a few air mattresses.
Air mattresses in the living room.
Yeah, in the living room.
Yeah.
To people coming for a big design conference who couldn't find hotel rooms. Wild, right?
It really sounds like something born out of, well, necessity.
Totally. But let's unpack this, because what started with just, air mattresses, it grew into something absolutely massive. So this deep dive, what we're doing here is looking at how that super humble beginning really transformed into a global phenomenon.
A phenomenon that completely reshaped travel.
And whole economies, too, right? And it challenged these traditional power structures in hospitality. So we're going to explore their model, which was genuinely innovative. We'll look at the impact, the good and the bad, because there are definitely two sides to it.
Absolutely. There always are with disruption.
And where this whole thing might be going next.
Yeah, that origin story, it seems almost desperate, but it holds a really powerful key, I think. It wasn't just about finding a quick fix for rent money. It fundamentally tapped into this hidden demand.
A demand for what exactly?
For something the hospitality industry just wasn't offering then. That sort of authentic local connection. Something you just couldn't get from a standard hotel chain.
That's a great point. And it's amazing how that one little act, sharing their space, basically laid the groundwork for a whole new way of thinking about travel and stays. From just sharing a floor, this core business model pops up, rooted in what we now call the shared economy.
Right, the shared economy.
Right.
Before Airbnb, you basically had these giant hotel chains dominating everything. It was very centralized.
Yeah, totally. And Airbnb just flipped that completely. They created this decentralized network, just individual people, hosts, offering all kinds of different places.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it's really about democratizing access, isn't it? It's opening up opportunities, resources, things that were usually concentrated with big companies, and giving them to, well, anyone with a spare room.
On an empty apartment, yeah.
Exactly. Their strategy was brilliant because it was so simple. Let ordinary people rent out their spaces. A spare bedroom, maybe an entire house.
And it gave travelers something different, right? Like a unique, more personal alternative to that kind of cookie-cutter hotel feel.
Definitely. And the scale. It's astounding. By 2023, you're talking over 4 million hosts globally.
4 million? Wow.
Operating in more than 220 countries and regions. And the company's valuation, hovering around, what, $100 billion?
That's incredible. It just shows how quickly a market can be totally upended when a really disruptive idea comes along.
For sure.
But, okay, the growth story is compelling, definitely. But like with so many disruptive things, that rapid expansion, well, it brought complexities, big ones. We need to look at those too. I mean, on one hand, you can't deny Airbnb redefined travel, and it empowered a lot of individuals. Think about cities like Lisbon or Barcelona, even back to San Francisco where it started. They became these hot spots for cultural exchange.
Yeah, drawing in travelers who genuinely wanted to, live like a local for a bit, not just stay in some tourist zone.
Exactly.
And that economic empowerment piece is really striking. It works at such a local grassroots level,
Yeah.
completely different from old school corporate structures.
Yeah.
Brian Chesky, the CEO, he put it really well. He said, we designed a marketplace where anyone can turn underutilized assets into liquid value.
Underutilized assets, like a spare room.
Right. And it's not just corporate talk. There are countless personal stories behind that. You hear about single parents, say, affording tuition for their kids.
Or retirees supplementing their pensions. It's like finding this, hidden value in your own home.
It really is. And the numbers back it up. In 2021 alone, hosts collectively earned something like $150 billion.
Billion. With a B.
Yeah, $150 billion. That's a huge economic boost spread across tons of local microeconomies, going directly into people's pockets.
Okay, but there's always a but, isn't there? It hasn't all been smooth sailing and local charm.
No, definitely not.
This success has absolutely sparked contention. Critics have strong arguments. They say Airbnb makes housing shortages worse in popular cities.
Which drives up rent for locals.
Exactly. Drives up rent for long-term residents. And then there's the really big one. gentrification,
Mm-hmm.
where, more affluent people come in, maybe facilitated by short-term rentals, and end up displacing people who've lived in these culturally rich neighborhoods for ages.
It's a genuinely tough balancing act, super complex issue. It really brings up that core question, doesn't it? How do you balance innovation with the social impact it has? And speaking of challenges, it's pretty remarkable how Airbnb managed through really turbulent times, especially the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Global travel just stopped, practically overnight.
Came to a near standstill. And their strategic resilience was, well, it was seriously tested.
You'd think a company built entirely on travel would just crumble, or at least have to hibernate completely. But they seemed to do more than just survive, didn't they? How did they pull off that pivot?
Well, they shifted focus pretty cleverly. They started marketing towards um, digital nomads.
Ah, right. Everyone's suddenly working remotely.
Exactly. And travelers just looking for places to work remotely, maybe for longer periods, so they push longer-term stays.
Okay, that makes sense.
And they partnered up with travel safety initiatives, too, which was important then. And yeah, it seems like those strategic shifts really paid off. They didn't just scrape through. Arguably, they came out stronger, maybe even more influential.
That adaptability is key, isn't it? Especially at that scale.
Crucial. And it wasn't only about the business side. They also made a push on social responsibility. Back in 2020, remember, they announced they'd help donate housing, free stays for frontline workers during the pandemic.
I do remember that. That was a significant gesture.
Yeah, it kind of underlined their investment in community, maybe some humanitarian values, even while facing their own huge crisis.
So looking ahead now, it sounds like they're definitely not just sitting back.
Not at all.
Their future plans seem pretty ambitious, expanding into related areas, trying to become a whole travel ecosystem.
That seems to be the goal. It's not just about booking a place to sleep anymore. They're really pushing experiences.
Right, the local activities.
Yeah, connecting guests with unique things to do locally. And they're also working on diversifying their digital marketing and tech capabilities.
So broadening their reach beyond just accommodation.
Exactly. And their ambition clearly goes beyond just lodging now. They seem to be positioning themselves strategically to ride some big waves, like sustainable travel.
How interesting. How so?
And that whole trend of off-the-beaten-path tourism, they're trying to offer these curated, maybe lower-impact experiences,
Yeah.
which aligns pretty well with how global traveler ethics seem to be evolving. It suggests they're thinking about the future of travel itself, not just their platform.
Okay, so wrapping this up then, what does all this mean for you listening? I mean, in a pretty short time, relatively speaking.
Yeah, incredibly short.
Airbnb has just fundamentally changed the whole fabric of global travel and where we stay. It really gives us this powerful lens, doesn't it, to look at tech-fueled economic disruption, how it completely redefines business landscapes.
Injects vitality, sometimes controversially, into local economies.
And, yeah, unequivocally challenges those old traditional power structures.
Its journey is just a fascinating case study in modern entrepreneurship, innovation, and, well, dealing with the consequences. Ultimately, I think the story Airbnb leaves us, and you, with a really provocative thought to chew on.
Which is?
What is the complex legacy of these kinds of disruptive innovations? How do we, as a society, keep trying to balance that economic opportunity, which is real, with the social impact, which is also very real, especially as this sharing economy continues to evolve and reshape our lives?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? And it feels like that conversation is definitely far from over.